Hello, I'm your coach, Brian Mitchell, and today we'll be talking about the quality of our food. The bulk of our diets should be made up of good quality food. We need to begin to look at our food like fuel. Every food that we choose to eat not only gets digested and absorbed in our body, but also interacts with the bacteria that live in our digestive system. Food quality can be broken down into three categories: whole foods, semi-processed foods, and processed foods. There are numerous definitions of the term processed when it comes to food. My designations are not only the easiest to use in terms of mindset, but they are also powerful tools that make shopping for your food quick, easy, and less expensive. Whole foods are foods of a single ingredient. You won't find a nutrition label on many of them, and you certainly won't find an ingredient list because each of these foods are what they are as a unit. An apple is an apple. A banana is a banana. A fresh cut of salmon is a fresh cut of salmon. You want these foods to make up the bulk of your diet. Some examples. Whole protein sources consist of meat, fish, eggs, non-fat Greek yogurt, and lentils. Whole carbohydrate sources consist of whole grains, starchy veggies, beans, and fruits. Whole fats consist of nuts, seeds, and their oils, some fruit oils like olive and avocado, and good quality dairy like mozzarella cheese. Once you make shopping for whole foods a habit, both your body and your budget will thank you. Trips to the store get easier as we eat more whole foods. Produce is generally the least expensive section, and we get to take a single circle around the outside of the store in the produce and deli sections, instead of getting caught up in the pricier and more tempting center aisles. Semi-processed foods contain between 2 and 5 whole ingredients. For proteins, an example might be a fresh, non-packaged sausage from the deli, with herbs and spices or a little bit of wheat or eggs. Other examples might include something like canned sardines or tuna, which might be in olive oil or brine. Semi-processed carbohydrates might include white rice or coconut water that's been packaged. Semi-processed fats would consist of foods like dark chocolate. Processed foods contain more than 5 ingredients, and more often than not include synthetic ingredients from some level of chemical processing. Whether to add unnatural flavor or to bond and hold foods together like in cold cereals, or to keep something on a shelf for months with chemical preservatives. We know that cookies and cakes and desserts are all highly processed, and the center aisles of the store are littered with them, so stick to the outer ring. Save the money and the trouble. But do not be afraid of food. I don't expect you to be consulting printouts while you're shopping, asking, did Brian say this food is processed or semi-processed? The most important thing you can do here is learn to think for yourself in terms of where each food you buy fits into the quality scheme and your plan. Always be thinking about how the food you buy and eat is contributing to your health. We want to construct our diet so that we are getting most of our nutrients from whole foods, with a little bit of semi-processed to fill in the gaps and a very little bit of processed foods in the indulgence meal for pleasure. Every so often, you may get a craving for something specific. We need to practice fighting these cravings, but we don't have to cut out the foods we love entirely. We must practice control, but also moderation. If we don't give in every so often, we'd go crazy. We need to stay sane throughout this journey, and that's why we have the indulgence meal. The best way to address these cravings is to meet them head-on. Single ingredient foods have a positive benefit on our microbiomes. The microbiome is the collection of all the microbes and bacterial cells that live in our digestive tract. We have more bacterial cells in our gut than we have human cells in our entire body. The bacteria that live in our digestive tract influence our ability to find and maintain a healthy body weight, so it's very important to fuel them properly with a diverse diet of whole foods. Good, healthy diversity is achieved by eating a diverse diet of plant-based foods. Now don't worry, this doesn't mean we have to become vegetarian or vegan, but it means that we do need to focus on stressing those fist-sized servings of vegetables at every meal. The best vegetables you can eat for gut health are fermented veggies that have been brined. The absolute best is sauerkraut, but there are other brined veggies as well that are very good for your gut. Be sure to check the ingredient list for water and salt, as vinegar doesn't allow for full fermentation. Another great way to provide diversity to our gut is through our carbohydrate intake. Try some of the whole grains you've never had before, like buckwheat, quinoa, amaranth, rye, bulgur, or millet. We need to shift our mindset and view this as a fun challenge to introduce more diverse grains into our diet. Next time you're at the store considering a processed wheat product, think about getting a point on the scoreboard for buying a different whole grain. Associate pleasure with diversity and your body will reward you with energy and weight loss. Whole foods also have a positive impact on our metabolism. There are hundreds of thousands of chemical reactions taking place in our body every second of every day. These reactions fuel us, and combined, they make up our metabolism. In order for these reactions to work, our body needs proper nutrients, and we get these nutrients from whole foods, mainly from vegetables and fruits. We need proteins to create the enzymes these reactions need to occur swiftly and accurately. We also need fats for healthy cell membranes so our cells can communicate, as well as other communications in the body like our hormones and our nervous system. Lastly, we need carbohydrates for energy to fuel all these reactions. So all of these nutrients that we get from our diet create our metabolism, which we want functioning well to allow us to lose and maintain a healthy weight. Look back at your meals on a daily or weekly basis to be aware of what you've been eating. You can do this quickly and easily by clicking on the Photos tab in your individual group. Be aware of what you're doing right and of what you're doing wrong and communicate this with me regularly. Then, with that information, we can identify any issues and devise a plan to fix them. Don't get what I call paralysis by analysis, where you spend too much time looking for a precise number and lose sight of the bigger picture. This isn't about perfection, it's about knowing yourself and your diet, and simply understanding where you need to improve. So ask these simple questions every week. Did I eat different foods this week? Or am I eating the same thing at each meal? If you've looked back at your week of photos and see the same meals popping up over and over, think about what other whole foods you could enjoy that would diversify your diet. Maybe try eggs for your protein instead of meat, quinoa for the carb instead of bread, avocado for the fat instead of oil, and definitely add sauerkraut as a veggie. Get excited. Take massive action. Increase the quality of your food each week and get ready for the next module.